That feeling, it's not from yesterday. It's very old. It seeps into every corner of my thoughts. A fear named scarcity. It's not real hunger or material deprivation in the present, but it's a soul scar and an invisible legacy. It was deeply etched since I was very young, passed down through incomplete meals, through the worried eyes of my parents, the fear of poverty. It's not just about money. It is loss, insecurity, the feeling of never being enough, never being safe. It follows me even now, a lingering shadow. I remember the long, rainy afternoons. The kitchen was cold and empty, nothing but arguments, just because of a lack of money. Mother's sigh, father's distraught eyes, all deeply imprinted in my naive mind. Worn-out clothes, sandals with worn-out soles, dream toys. I only dared to look from afar. Then told myself, I don't need it. That lie protected me from feeling inferior, but it also hardened me. Every time I saw friends with new things, my heart ached. A little inferiority, a little shame, then quickly turned into stubbornness. Money can't buy happiness. I told myself that, to justify scarcity, to hide desire. Every small coin is precious. That was the first lesson I was taught. Don't waste, don't spend lavishly, save as much as possible, to protect myself, to never feel that way again, the feeling of helplessness when there's no money. My family wasn't wealthy, always living hand to mouth, or rather chasing money daily. I witnessed every meager paycheck, every meticulous calculation, every restless sleep of my parents. They didn't say it, but anxiety filled the air. It seeped into every fiber of my being, every breath. I didn't want to become them, didn't want to live that life, a life always trapped by money. That fear, it's not just a memory, it's a part of me, a dark part, a driving force. It pushes me to work harder, to earn a lot of money, to escape the shadow of the past. When I grew up, I plunged into work, like a moth to a flame, without stopping. Money became the sole measure of security, of self-worth. I hoarded every coin, didn't dare to spend, even when I had enough, even in abundance. The fridge is always full now. Clothes are no longer worn and torn, but the feeling of poverty is still there. It hides deep inside, a small voice, always whispering, not enough, not safe enough. One day everything will disappear. I didn't dare to enjoy, didn't dare to allow myself to be lazy. A trip, a delicious meal, something I liked, all came with a feeling of guilt. Guilty for wasting, guilty for not saving. I built a fortress of money. Each brick was a coin of sweat. But that fortress, it was very lonely. It imprisoned me inside. I looked at my friends. They weren't as rich as me, but they lived more carefree. They dared to experience, dared to give, dared to enjoy the moment. And me? I was still immersed in anxiety, an uncertain future, always lurking, ready to strike. The fear of poverty didn't allow me to live. It only allowed me to exist and accumulate. I worked non-stop. Health declined, relationships fractured, all for an illusory sense of security. I sought assurance in the numbers in my bank account, but my heart was empty. Fear had turned me into a slave of the very money I earned. It had controlled me for so many years, from how I spent to how I thought, and even how I felt about my self-worth. I always felt not enough. No matter how hard I tried, no matter how much success I achieved, because the fear of poverty, it wasn't in my wallet, but in my mind. It's a shadow from the distant past, cast directly onto my present. Then one day, I stopped. Not because of physical exhaustion, but because a question echoed in my head. When is enough? I had more than my parents ever had. More than I dreamed of as a child. So why was I still afraid? I looked in the mirror, saw a gaunt face, eyes full of worry. That wasn't who I wanted to be, a slave to fear. I realized I was repeating a vicious cycle, not material poverty, but spiritual poverty. Poverty of belief in sufficiency. I had built a cage for myself, with bricks of anxiety, with chains of the past. Money, it wasn't at fault. The fault was in how I perceived it, how I let old memories dominate. I tried to escape material poverty, but created another form of poverty. Poverty in the soul, of someone who never felt safe, no matter how much money I had. That moment, like a bolt of lightning, woke me up. The past was over. Deprivation was a thing of the past. My present self. I was different. I had abilities. I had choices. I was no longer a helpless child, the poverty I feared. It only existed in my head, not out there anymore. I had to break this cage, starting from within. That journey wasn't easy. Had to confront old scars. Had to bravely let go of false beliefs. Had to learn to trust. Trust myself. Trust in the abundance of life. I started to spend more consciously, not because of fear of losing money, but because of the value the item to the experience brought. I allowed myself to enjoy small joys, a morning coffee, a good book, a cozy meal with loved ones. I learned to give, without calculation, because I knew. Sufficiency wasn't in the account balance, but in the heart. It lay in the ability to feel completeness, even when things weren't perfect. The fear of poverty didn't completely disappear. It was still there, but it no longer controlled me. It's a reminder of where I'd been and where I wanted to go. I learned to live with it, not to let it swallow me, but to understand it, to turn it into a healthy motivation. I no longer wanted to run away from poverty, but wanted to build sufficiency, by peace in my soul, by gratitude, by freedom. I realized true wealth isn't having no fears, but being able to look fear straight in the eye and not let it control my life. This life is worth more than numbers, worth more than anxiety. It deserves to be lived fully, with a peaceful heart and a free mind.